Hey, what's going on, you guys? I'm Prakar back from techers.com and welcome to the continuation of the design of from XD series. Okay, so in the previous video, I have told you guys about Adobe XD and told you how you can, make your life easier by designing it on that application, and how you can make your designing fun instead of a burden on you as a developer. Okay, so in this video we are going to begin with the designing for the application. So we are going to build the first layout. So I think that will be a login layout, a login screen. Okay, so a login screen is the first screen that a user might encounter on your application. So we are going to design that. Okay, so the next an important thing that I wanted to say is that when you are designing, icons play a very big part when you are designing. Icons are everywhere. You see icons everywhere, and depending upon the type of application you are building, I think material icons are not always the best choice you can have. Okay, if you are building a very light application, material icons are fine. Okay, but if you want to use something more colorful, something more vibrant, and material icon does not cover entire icon library that you might need in your lifetime. Okay, so material icon is just for the for Android processes and Android stuff only, like battery and camera and processors and stuff like that. But you are not going to get every icon that you might need even in your first project in the material icons library. Okay, so we can't do anything of that. So I was thinking of introducing you to some of the application that I use for icons. Okay, so the first being the flat icons. So the first being the flaticons.com. It's a very good website if you want to have some icons. I know my internet is very slow, I don't know why, but okay, let's just forget it. Okay, so flat icons is a very good website. If you can afford the premium version for it, you need not attribute every single icon that you need to use. Okay, so yes, there's one drawback of flat icons. If you are using many icons from flat icons, you have to attribute every single one of them, which is it's not practical to if you're using hundreds of icon in your application, you're not going to attribute hundreds of creators for that, which poses a very big problem if you don't have the premium version of flat icons. Yeah, it's a very good website. If you can afford the premium version, I would definitely suggest to go for it. Okay, now the next website I use is Icon8. Icons8 is another very good website, and especially because they have almost every icon that you might need in every color. And basically what I like about this application, they have a Windows app that makes it very easy to copy the icons, because you are not downloading each and every icon and saving it on your computer. You are just dragging from the application and dropping it on XD. So you are saving space by not directly downloading that icon file. So yes, that's a very good method, and you get 86,400 icon offline in that, and in that Windows app, which which are ready to be copied, and you can choose any color that you want. They are there are way more than way more varieties than you think. Okay, so I'm going to show that how I'm going to show that how that application looks like. So Icons8, yes, here we go. You can have photos, you can have music. You can also buy that. If you can afford the premium version, it's good, because in the non-premium version you are only limited to the 50 to anything between 0 to 100 pixel. 0 pixel doesn't sound logical, but 1 to 100 pixel size of the icons. Beyond that, if you want any icon, you have to pay that. Okay, so this is the Android application. What I like about this is, I don't know why my taskbar is not opening this time. Never mind, it's quite annoying. Oops. I opened Illustrator. So I can just you get all those category: iOS, Windows 10, material, icons, and ice cream color. You can also obviously get that color. You can just drag and drop, and there's no need for you to download that application, but you are limited to 48 and 96 here in the color, and 26, 54, depending upon the things that you need. You have 50 and 100 pixels there. I don't want Illustrator, I'm sorry, I mistakenly clicked, sorry. Okay, so we'll just close that for once. Okay, just close. Okay, so Icons8 is another great website. If you want to have some templates and stuff like that, I would recommend you to have free pick, which is from the makers of Flat Icon. I know. Okay, thank you. I'm using Illustrator on a free trial because I don't use that much often, because much of my work is done on XD, and then I have GIMP and stuff like that, so I don't use the Illustrator very often, but it's only for the icon purposes and stuff like that. Okay, so we have graphic, so they have graphic resources. We can find vectors, PSD. Icons are not that handy, but you can get way more creative icons that you get on Flat Icon. So Flat Icon is basically a collection of all the icon websites, not all, but basically the major flat icon websites, and it is just like showing you the packs of the month. I mean the packs of the month that you can download. There are icon packs, so you can directly download just all the icons, or you can download each and every icon separately, so it's entirely your choice. So that's all I wanted to show you guys, because icons are very essential in designing. Okay, so let's get back to XD. Okay, so for designing the login screen, you have to rename that like that. It's not necessary, but okay, so for just identifying purposes. Okay, first of all, we need a good background. So for the backgrounds, I basically use two websites that are Pixels, the pixels.com, and the other website is Unsplash. They have all the free stock photos that I like. Okay, so see the beautiful images. You do not need to attribute anyone for these. Okay, so let me just pick a great photo that will suit our login screen. I haven't decided the theme of the application yet, so I can use any of the one that I like. What should we use? Something like, not this one. Yeah, we can use something like this. That's a perfect proportion. Make sure you do not just use this, because that will be stretched out. If you are using it on mobile, you can have the width which is smaller than the height. That means a rectangle, not a rectangle sideways, but a rectangle whose height is way bigger than the width. So that's in the ratio of 15 to 6 or 16 to 9 and stuff like that. Okay, so the download is complete. Now the attribution is not required. It is free for personal and commercial use. You can follow the photographer. You can follow the photographer here, or whatever he is, the uploader or the photographer, whatever. You can also link back to him, but that's entirely optional. You can also donate. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to just drag it to my XD. Okay, my taskbar is not working. I don't know why. Windows 10 has that problem. Okay, I'll just copy that and just go and manually paste that in my XD. Okay, as you can see that it's quite a big file. It's quite a huge image, so I'm going to just shorten it, and yeah, I guess this is just fine, or this like this. It looks beautiful, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to, so as you can see that the image is very big as compared to our artboard. So what we are going to do is, we are going to crop it in the shape of the artboard. So for that, there's a term which is known as masking. So we have to mask it with a shape. either you can mask it with any shape that you want simply, but our artboard is rectangle, so I'm going to make a rectangle here and just select both of them by pressing control plus the control plus click, or you can have alt plus control plus A, which will select all on Windows, and you can right click and select with mask with shape, or you can just press control shift and M, so it is going to mask it with a shape and it looks really beautiful. Now what we are going to do, that is that image is quite bright and quite sharp that we don't want. We want it to be a subtle one, so I'm going to use another rectangle that is going to be a little opaque, making it a very subtle image. I'm going to make the borders absent here as well, so we don't see the borders, because borders are not good for the backgrounds. Okay, so here we go. And now what we are going to, you can also add the background blur, because it will not show the background blur here, because we have the mask group here. So I'm not going to add the background blur here. I like that how this image looks. We can have something like yeah, this is let's make it a little more. So if you want to add a background blur, you can just click on here, but you can click on here, but we have decreased the opacity, so it will not have that effect. So you can increase the background blur by increasing the opacity, I'm sorry. So you can increase that whatever you like. Okay, so you can add gradient as well. Okay, so for the white, instead of the white fill, so I'm going to deselect this. So instead of a white fill, you can have a gradient, which is so I'm selecting a linear gradient, and you can use the color picker in order to have that gradient like this. Okay, so it will be darker and whatever you like, and you can select this color and let it be this green like that, and you can also increase its transparency or decrease its transparency as you like. So let's select a more, yeah, this is how it looks. I'm going to have it like this. So I have added this gradient. I know I'm destroying the greenery of the picture, but the theme of my application is something bluish, and I had to do it, because if I added anything in here, the white would appear a very bright white here in the dark one and a very light bright here in the sky one. So I needed to balance it with a dark background, so I just added this gradient and have reduced the transparency to almost half of each color. So this is how it looks now. Okay, so let's create something like okay, let's write something like hello here, and what you can do in order to increase the font size, you can just drag it like this and place it like this. You can have something like white here. Okay, so this is white, which is fine. A font, that is good. Okay, that is just fine. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to have a login and email field. Okay, so I'm going to make a single field. Border should be absent. The transparency, let's reduce the transparency to this much. Yes, I guess this should be fine. The shadow should be let me see. Yeah, the shadow should be here, because it's the heading and look good with the shadow. And you can have the background blur in here, but that will not serve any purpose, so I'm not going to have that. What you can have it is the text, and it will be email. I know that's a huge font size, so I'm going to decrease it like this. More decrease. Let's change the color to something darker, not very dark. Email. We'll add an icon, so let's place it like this, and yeah, that's it. Now let's find an icon first. Okay, so let me type envelope. Okay, here we go. Not this, but we just need a, what we can need is a 24 by 24 pixel icon. That's a smaller one. Oops, that's a smaller one. Okay, just drag it out of there, drag it in here, and the color should be changed. I thought that white should be okay, but no, white isn't okay. The color should be like a one, not that black but not that white as well. Or we can write something like your email here, your email here, and that is kind of fine. Now what we are going to have, oh my taskbar, come on, I'll just close that. We'll open that when we need. Now Adobe XD has a feature which is known as the grouping of the element. So if I wanted to duplicate this button entirely, I would just if I would just duplicate it, it will just duplicate this rectangle. So if I wanted to have if I wanted to tell that if it's an entire button with the three elements, that is that rectangle, that icon, and that text, so I'm going to select it by pressing shift and by clicking the element that I want to select, and I'm going to press Ctrl plus G to group all the elements. Now if I press Ctrl plus D, it will duplicate the entire three elements which we want, which is absolutely great. Okay, so we have your password here, your password here, and obviously we have to change that. Okay, I have closed the Icons 8 application. So we are back with the application, and I'm going to search something like lock, and yeah, this should be good. Oops, I should have it 24 by 24. Custom size, that should be 24 by 24, and yep, this one. Okay, and here we go. I want to reduce the icon size a bit. Yeah, that's not the sharpest icon, and I would not suggest you to use 24 by 24 pixel icons. That was just fine. Okay, so your password here, your email here, that is, if you can make it a little more blackish, visibility might increase. It's as per your desire. Your password here, your email here. We are going to also use some social logins, so let's create something like this. Boom boom. Okay, so I would suggest you to duplicate instead of making another one. It's 126, and let's make it 126 as well, and height should be 1. Okay, this is fine. No, height should be actually 0 because I don't want any angles to be there. Okay, so I don't want any tilts to be there, so yeah, it's 0, so it's fine. So I'm going to change the color because it's not visible. I'm going to make it a little more whitish here, and let's add a text which is or in here, which will be also of the same color. Here we go. Oops, make it smaller. Okay, this is how we have it. Okay, so let's go to the Icons 8 website. We are going to use, can I have that here? Okay, that's fine. Now we are going to use Google. Google's white icon would be good because we have the dark area here, so a white icon will be great here. You can always use the colored icons as well, but this time I'm going to use a 50 pixels. And then we have Facebook. The white icon should be here. If you want to have Instagram, you can always have that as well. Which icon should I use? I think this one should be fine. And the last one might be LinkedIn. And these are all the social logins that we are going to offer in this application. Okay, so let us place these and let us edit that to make them smaller. The same size. Oops. Decreases opacity, so it's not really bouncing because it's really white. Yeah, subtle gray, it's always great. Okay, so let's make it for the same height. I think it's up. Yep. Okay, it's up now. Yeah. Okay, because Google has this padding around it, so might not be the best solution to have that padding around. LinkedIn also has that padding, so I'm going to push that 2 pixels above. That is not very straight. I mean, yeah, now it's looking fine. And add a text. And yeah, it's looking nice now. So this is how we create a basic login screen in Adobe XD. So I have not included any of the complex things that we can do in Adobe XD. It's just a very basic tutorial. I had to make a design which is quite quick. So here's the design. It's not a very good design, I must say, but yeah, it's much better than what you can do in Android Studio without importing those images and stuff. Okay, so now I have completed the designing. Now the next question is that how we can import that this design into the Android Studio, that how it's possible. So for that, you just keep watching the next episode of the series. So the next video, I'm going to teach you how you can just transfer this design in your Android Studio and just publish your application. Okay, so if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and hit the notification bell icon so you can get notified every time I post. And yes, that's it. Thank you.